Am I wrong for breaking off my engagement with my fiancé after he made inappropriate and unsettling comments about my 14-year-old sister? I, 20-year-old female, am in a tough situation and I'm not sure if I'm overreacting, so I need some outside perspectives. I've been with my fiancé, Gregory, 35-year-old male, for about 2 years and everything seemed fine until recently. A few weeks ago, my 14-year-old sister, Leah, came to stay with us for just a few days while our parents were out of town. During her stay, I started noticing some really unsettling things. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but Gregory started making comments that made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. He would call her so hot and would say things like, "You're going to turn heads when you're older," and "You've got such a body on you already." The worst part was when he said, "I'd be jealous if I were your boyfriend. Every guy will be looking at you soon." I tried to ignore it at first, but it kept happening and I began to feel sick to my stomach. Then one evening, I overheard him telling a friend on the phone, "Leah's got that look now. It's like she's starting to bloom." It was honestly one of the creepiest things I've ever heard. I felt like I was losing my mind, and I just knew I couldn't stay in that relationship anymore. I confronted him about his behavior, and he immediately got defensive. He denied it and said I was being paranoid and that I should trust him. He insisted that he was just being nice and that I was overreacting. I didn't care. I packed my things, broke off the engagement, and moved back in with my parents. Now my friends and some family members are telling me I overreacted. They say I should have talked it out with him first, but I don't see how that would have changed anything. So, am I wrong for breaking up with my fiancé because of his creepy comments toward my little sister? Now to the next story. Story 2. My dog saved my life when a stalker broke into my house. My sister-in-law now refuses to let him near my niece, claiming he's dangerous, as he snapped. This is kind of a complicated story, but I'll just get into it. I used to be in this controlling kind of abusive relationship. When I finally broke it off a year ago, my ex started showing up, trying to get me to take him back. Eventually, it developed into full-on stalking. He would show up at my work and took to just waiting outside of it after he was banned, leave notes on my car when I was at the grocery store, leave all kinds of flowers outside my house, and then stick angry notes on my door after he saw me throw them in the trash. Wrote me all kinds of weird obsessive emails and letters. I've had to change my phone number 3 times. The behavior escalated over time and got scarier, more threatening. In one instance, he started a small fire in my driveway, but the police couldn't get enough evidence connecting him to it. It was after that instance that I put cameras in my yard. I previously only had them pointing at my doors. I was horrified to learn that the police couldn't do about any of this until my stalker actually was caught doing something illegal, like breaking into my house, at which point I might already be dead. I decided I wasn't spending the rest of my life waiting for the other shoe to drop, so I got a handgun and a concealed carry permit, took some self-defense courses, and started doing strength training. I also looked into getting an attack dog, but after all the money I'd sunk into my other methods of protection, they were prohibitively expensive. So I went to my local animal shelter and got the scariest, meanest-looking dog I could find. This is where Rocco comes in. He's a 100-pound American bulldog. Looks like he'd rip your throat out on sight, but is basically a gigantic teddy bear. He loves every person he's ever met, is incredibly sweet and gentle with my 4-year-old niece, enjoys other animals, and even loves the mailman. I just kind of accepted that he probably wouldn't do anything to protect me from my stalker, but it didn't matter that much because having such a huge dog made me so much more confident. I brought Rocco everywhere I could and was working on getting him trained enough to be an emotional support animal so I could bring him inside places with me. I absolutely would not do this until he was trained well enough to not disrupt a regular service dog. Last month, I woke up in the middle of the night to Rocco whining. I was groggy and thought he had to go to the bathroom, so I got out of bed and opened the door. At that point, my house alarm went off, and pretty soon after that, I was face to face with my stalker. I started screaming and went to run for my gun. Before I could do anything, though, Rocco ran across the room in full attack mode. The memory is really blurry for me, but there was blood all over my living room, and I remember my stalker was eventually able to escape, at which point Rocco chased him outside and then came back to me. When the police showed up, they said Rocco was a hero who'd probably saved my life. I don't want to list what they found in my stalker's car after they caught him, and I'm shaking a little as I type this, but I'm sure he was going to bring me somewhere and kill me. It looks like he's going to prison for a long time, though, so my nightmare is over. Pretty much everyone in my life thinks Rocco is a hero except my sister-in-law. She and my brother have a 4-year-old, the one I mentioned above, and she says she doesn't want Rocco around her child anymore. She says since Rocco has snapped in the past, he could do it again, so he's not safe to have around kids. We used to see each other a few times a week before she decided Rocco was dangerous. The way she words this makes me really angry because Rocco didn't snap. He saw a stranger break into his home, heard his owner scream in terror, and reacted to defend me himself and his house. Nothing about that screams dangerous around children to me unless my niece is also going to break into my house and threaten me. This is also a very emotional issue for me because Rocco isn't just a dog to me. He's my safe place, my hero, the one who protected me and kept me safe when no one else could. I've also gotten increasingly anxious since this happened, and I can't go anywhere without Rocco. I barely leave my house, pay to pick up my groceries from the store instead of going in because I know Rocco isn't allowed inside. And all my friends know that if Rocco isn't welcome in their house, I'm not coming either, although they're perfectly welcome to come hang out at my house instead. I am really going through it, and am working with a therapist to overcome this. Luckily, my office is still fully remote, but I need to be able to go back to work once we're in person again. But I really need my brother and sister-in-law's support. I think my sister-in-law thinks I'm just pouting, and that's why I won't just leave the dog home and come over without him. I don't know how to explain to them that the fear hasn't stopped just because my stalker is in jail. It's actually a lot worse than it was before. I've already suggested they come over and I crate Rocco, but that wasn't good enough for her. What can I do to make her understand the situation better? Am I right that my dog took down my stalker after he broke into my house? Now I have severe anxiety and am too afraid to be without him, but my sister-in-law thinks he's unsafe around my 4-year-old niece. I don't know how to make them understand that I really am too afraid to go anywhere without him and not just trying to win an argument. Comments. Comment 1. Most of the people that replied have given you excellent advice. Mine is to get you to see that you won. As I read your post, I realized that you have no idea how smart and strong you are. You were threatened and took action. You got a gun permit, training, cameras, alarm system, a dog, and all the things that I usually have to talk people into. For years, I provided a service to victims of stalkers. I would first inform them of their legal rights, tell them their options, help them with filing reports, do a deep background on the stalker, inspect the home for security, advise them on a proper alarm system and changes, find a contractor, help them select a handgun and training, train them what to do at home, at work, on the street, help find a dog, therapist, and many other things. Over the years, I developed a thorough understanding of the mind of stalkers and how to deal with them. I know how helpless you feel when the law says you have to be beaten or killed before they can do anything. Today, most major cities have a support group for people that are harassed by stalkers. Sometimes I would even have a discussion with the stalker, but that only worked 10% of the time. Stalkers know the law, aren't afraid of much, and are driven by things most people don't understand. I could list the many things we did, including staking out the house and catching them. I was licensed and permitted in everything. I only share this background so that you know that I have more experience at this than most people. The reason I'm replying to your post is to tell you that you did things on your own that I had to push clients to do because they either were paralyzed with fear, lived in denial, or were passive and had to be pushed into protecting themselves. Some even wanted to move away. Never run from a stalker, and you didn't. In 15 years, I never had one client that took the initiative like you have. You did almost everything right, and you should be proud of your efforts and know that you are strong enough to deal with this and anything else life throws at you. You won. Don't let this piece of trash know that he caused you pain. These sick people get pleasure from your fear. So as you go forward, don't let your sister-in-law get to you. She has no idea what you went through, and her fear of your dog is baseless. You are really lucky and have one heck of a dog. He saved your life and deserves a great partner like you. Please don't underestimate yourself. I never had one client as strong and smart as you. You should be talking to victims and sharing your story of courage and survival. You would provide a service to victims that think no one understands their constant fear. If you did that, you would be giving yourself therapy. Therapy isn't much more than sharing your fears with someone that understands, and you truly do. Comment 2. Because there have been plenty of helpful comments already regarding what to do with Rocco, great name, and your sister-in-law. I just want to make sure you're also taking care of yourself. What you've been through is horribly traumatic that few people in the world have experienced. I know you've gone to great lengths to protect with classes and the like, but now that the imminent physical threat is taken care of, It's time to take off the emotional scars your stalker has inflicted on you. Please seek out some trauma therapy. You deserve to be able to live without the constant cloud of fear hanging over you. Please seek professional therapy. You'll thank yourself so much for being kind enough to take care of your mental health. Best of luck to you and lots of pets for your perfect doggy. Reply to echoing this. OP, depending on where you live, you may be eligible for trauma therapy paid by the county in which the judicial process occurred. Do they have a victim advocate's office? If not, I recommend looking up the National Association of Crime Victims Compensation Boards, if in US link at www.nacvc.org. They can help you figure out what you are eligible for as a victim. I can tell you from experience as a victim of a crime that this service has been invaluable and allowed me to receive free weekly trauma therapy for almost a year now, virtual since COVID. It also might help you find ways to talk to your brother and sister-in-law. Your support system is more important than ever, but sometimes people truly don't understand the brain alteration of trauma can cause, and you might not have the ability to describe it in a way they can understand right now. A therapist can help coach you on how to talk to them so that you can hopefully have time with your family and niece and your dog also, and I hate to add this depressing advice. But talk to the victim advocate or sign up for the victim notification via the prison system so you aren't taken unawares by an early sentencing release. In the case I'm a victim in, the perp was sentenced to 6 years, but will probably be out in less than 3. Restraining orders do not always roll over from before, so make sure you have a new one set in place if when this sociopath gets out on parole. So thankful Rocco was there to keep you alive. Best wishes on healing. Comment 3. I'm really sorry that this all happened to you. I'm glad that both you and your pup are alright. You might want to look into a box muzzle. I'm not recommending it because Rocco did anything wrong, but it might make the other person feel more comfortable. It's a muzzle that can be worn comfortably. Your pup can open its mouth, have his tongue hang out, whatever. I got one when introducing my 100-pound dog to a 2-pound kitten. It's a safety blanket. You can have them together without any fear. That said, it hurts to get hit with a cage. My lovely dumb dog got excited while wearing it, tried to lick me, and ran into my face with it on. I wish you luck with everything. Edit. Thank you to whoever awarded me the silver. That was really kind of you. I had a large aggressive breed of dog that was super friendly and loving. He crossed over the Rainbow Bridge last year. I understand the struggle of having an intimidating dog and the judgments that can go along with it. I especially want aggressive breeds to get all the love and attention they deserve. Opie sounds like they're doing a fantastic job. No one should have to pick between a person and partner wanting what is best for their child or their amazing dog, especially one that saved their life. Reply 3. This is probably the best advice, as Opie feels absolutely safe with the dog. The parents of the 4-year-old are absolutely responsible for ensuring their child's safety. I like this to keep young children out of the kitchen when cooking things on the stove. A pot of spaghetti is not evil, it's not malicious, and it's absolutely safe when used properly. But if a kid pulls it over on themselves, it's going to be tragic. I look at a dog which is capable of sending a full-grown man to the hospital to be as dangerous as that pot of spaghetti. A few ounces of prevention and inconvenience is absolutely worth everyone's peace of mind. You can even get the dog to love the box muzzle too. Make it so that he gets to play a treat game when he puts it on, and before long that dog will literally be bringing the muzzle to you whenever he hears the brother's car pull up. Comment 4. If it weren't for Rocco, your stalker probably wouldn't be carted off to prison. Rocco helped provide DNA that pinpoints stalkers to the scene. Best move on your part. That's such great news, and I'm glad things will be better for you. Your sister-in-law is being ridiculous. A home invasion is something a dog notices, that is why he attacked. You were scared and running, and the dog knew this strange guy was the problem, so he took care of it. Your sister doesn't understand dogs, and I think is speaking from ignorance. I'm sorry this has happened to you, but parents will be parents. I just keep them separate from here on out to keep the peace. Reply 4. Rocco sounds very smart and simply amazing. On one hand, I understand the concern of a child around any dog, but Rocco didn't snap. He did what Opie had hoped he would do and defended his mama from a man who broke into her house. I don't understand why keeping him crated is unacceptable to her. They need to have a talk because sister-in-law seems to think Opie is pouting, but she just went through severe trauma and relies on him for her anxiety. Opie should also get counseling for PTSD though, because realistically, she can't bring him with her everywhere for the rest of her life. Unfortunately, some businesses don't allow emotional support animals, particularly a large bully breed. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.